The treehouse in front of him was not only filled with entertainment facilities, but also had a water slide and even the latest edition of comic books. Bart went to the second floor observation deck with his binoculars. He saw Duffman drinking, the Joker massaging an orangutan, Mel sunbathing his bones, and his own desolate and dilapidated treehouse.
Ha ha! You have glass envy!
Nelson, honey, I told you to stop saying ha ha.
Give me $1 and I'll stop!
I don't got $1.
Ha ha!
Bart immediately went home to tear down his treehouse. Marge stopped him, saying that Homer had built it to the best of his ability.
I did my job. Now it's your turn, Tree. Get growing.
Marge said she would help Bart repair the treehouse, but Bart claimed that the treehouse was off limits to girls and that all mothers couldn't build a treehouse. His words inspired Marge. She said she would build the best treehouse Bart had ever seen for him. Thanks to Marge's efforts, the treehouse was soon completed. Bart invited Milhouse to see the treehouse. Marge even installed motorized blinds on it.
No need to thank her. She's just doing her job.
At dinner, Marge hinted to Bart that she had gotten nothing, no thanks, no gratitude. Then she went back to her bedroom angrily. It wasn't until the early hours of the next day that Marge still hadn't received any thanks from Bart. She angrily woke Homer up and asked him to bring Bart over. Bart came to apologize to her, holding an elaborately prepared breakfast. Looking at his sincere expression, Marge's anger dissipated instantly. In the end, she forgave Bart and hugged him.
That apology speech you wrote worked like a charm.
Proud. He then put the shoe on immediately and kidnapped the president of Australia. Homer smashed through a glass window and took Bart to escape. The man threw darts in an attempt to stop them, but the darts bounced back and successfully repelled him. Maggie and Lisa, completely unaware of what was happening, had no choice but to run along with them. In the end, they managed to get into the embassy. For the sake of diplomatic relations between the two countries, Bart agreed to accept the punishment. However, he pulled a trick on them. He took off his pants and mocked them fiercely. The entire incident started when Bart and Lisa had a contest to see whose toothpaste would flow into the drain first. In such little competitions, Lisa always had the upper hand, so Bart wanted to change the direction of the water flow. But Lisa told Bart that the direction of water flow is opposite in the northern and southern hemispheres. To verify this, Bart called an Antarctic research station to ask. Although the person on the other end really wanted to help Bart, there was nothing they could do because the toilets there were frozen solid. So Bart randomly picked a country in the southern hemisphere and made a call. A regular Australian boy answered the phone. The boy quickly checked the direction of the water flow in his home and told Bart not long after that the water was flowing clockwise. Bart was skeptical and asked the boy to check the water flow at his neighbor's house. The boy rushed out of his home and rode his bicycle off into the distance. Bart didn't get a reply even late into the night. 3 weeks later, Homer received a huge phone bill. Around the same time, the father of that Australian boy also got a high phone bill. He called Bart to demand compensation but was humiliated by Bart.
You're all the way in Australia. Hey, I think I hear a dingo eating your baby.
So he told a member of parliament about what had happened. The congressman was furious and decided to report it to the prime minister. Not long after, Bart received an indictment. Simple tools with wooden planks and iron buckets. After a running start, he leaped with all his might and successfully grabbed the handrail. Just as Bart was about to climb out using inertia, the handrail suddenly broke and Bart crashed hard back to the ground. He had to look for another way out. At this moment, he unexpectedly found a telephone on the ground. So, as usual, he dialed Moe's Tavern and started playing pranks. Before Bart could even celebrate, the telephone wire suddenly caught fire on its own. He lost his only connection to the outside world. Homer searched everywhere but couldn't find any trace of Bart, so he had to go back to ask his family for help. The sheriff led the whole town in a search for a day and a night, but still couldn't find Bart. The news soon announced Bart's death, and even Marge set up a mourning hall at home. But Milhouse and Nelson insisted on continuing the search. Milhouse saw Bart sat beside the well and shouted Bart's name excitedly.
Give me your phone.
Milhouse then went to Bart's house, wanting to tell Lisa where Bart was, but Lisa mistakenly thought Milhouse just wanted to comfort her. She hugged him tightly and burst into loud sobs. In order to comfort Lisa more often, Milhouse decided to hide Bart's whereabouts. However, Sideshow Bob found Milhouse. He didn't believe Bart could have died so easily and was convinced that Milhouse knew where Bart was. At this time, Bart had fixed the telephone wire and called Marge. Upon hearing that Bart was still alive, Homer immediately took Grandpa to the forest to look for him, but by then, Bart had already been tied to a rocket. Bob wanted to launch him into the sky. He inserted the key into the keyhole, but the launcher didn't respond because 2 keys were needed.
Alright, I owe you one.
Kill you anymore.
Milhouse, is there a knife in my back?
Not that I can see.